we're organizing workshops on questions of decentralization since 2016. And when you're talking about decentralization and also federalization, sooner or later, you're discussing, first of all, minority rights. And if you're talking about minority rights, very soon you have the question of language rights. Why is this the case? Because decentralization is an instrument in order to deal with difference. And in many countries, people are different with regard to their language. This is also the case in Syria. You have Arabic speakers, you have mother tongue speakers, Kurdish, but you also have people speaking Assyrian. And the important question is, how can you, on the one hand, at least this is what I believe to be the central question. I mean, how can you, on the one hand, support a language everybody's speaking, a language, a common language, a language for everybody, which is not only important because people need to communicate with each other and people need to communicate with the state, but it can also be important in terms of identifying oneself with the state. So how can you, on the one hand, make sure that you have one language everybody's speaking, and on the other hand, you need to find a way to secure minority rights. And securing minority rights means that a person has really the chance to learn a language from the very beginning. It doesn't mean that you can somehow communicate in your language, but it means that you can speak your language, that you can write your language, that you have the vocabulary to discuss, let's say, scientific questions, so that you really know the language on a good level. So, and of course, you will never. I mean, there are different ways of educational systems addressing the question of language, and probably you will never find a system in which every person knows different languages, their own, and maybe a state language on a very professional level. This may be the goal, but you will never reach it. I mean, you can also ask if this is really the goal. Maybe it's not. I mean, we had a discussion today, for example, in which some people said, well, maybe it's okay if only the elites speak both languages. So you see, there are lots of questions to discuss, and this is why we decided to start discussing these questions and to see what a good concept regarding language rights could be for Syria.